Welcome to our Unveiled Faces. I am creator and host Rosie Leonore, and I'm here to help you find strength and inspiration in your daily spiritual restoration journey with God. I pray that this episode will encourage your faith. Enjoy. Welcome back. Today, I will be continuing a reflection on the book Temp-Away, How to Defeat Temptation in Under 60 Seconds and How to Recover Quickly When You Don't, by Guy Hammond. I call this episode Necessity and Hope. I'm going to read to you a couple of excerpts from the book. There are two stories that were extremely inspiring to me. The first one is based on necessity. Here we go. As she watched the silversmith, he held a piece of silver over the fire and let it heat up. He explained that in refining silver, one needed to hold the silver in the middle of the fire where the flames were the hottest to burn away all the impurities. She asked the silversmith if it was true that he had to sit there in front of the fire the whole time that the silver was being heated and refined. The man answered that he not only had to sit there holding the silver, but he had to keep his eyes on the silver the entire time it was on the fire, until it was completely refined. If the silver was left a moment too long in the flames, it would be destroyed, he said. The woman was silent for a moment. Then she asked the silversmith, "How do you know when the silver is fully refined?" He smiled at her and answered, "Oh, that's easy, when I can see my image in it." Just as the metal must be molded and purified, and once the impurities are removed, must be tested, we as God's children must be tested before the Lord, so that the Lord can use us for his purposes. So that's the necessity. When I read this story, I thought it sounded familiar. It's actually based on Malachi chapter 3, verse 3. I was so inspired because I think about, the last part of it, right? That's easy when I can see my image in it. That's when I know it's fully refined. And that's the part that made me get kind of emotional because, the going through the refining is not easy. Who wants to go through that, right? I don't. I'm sure you don't. We don't enjoy that. But when the final result happens, you're like, okay, maybe it was worth it, right? And of course, this is worth it. When God is trying to mold us into his image, it's so worth it. I don't know about you, but I want to see him one day. I want to experience him every day. And to me, if this is what it takes, then so be it. I want to encourage you with a couple of, facts about temptation and a few points that Hammond points out here, a few things that I think will encourage you. First of all, it says here that Satan uses temptation in hopes that we will sin, but God uses temptation to give us freedom of choice and make it possible for us not to sin. While temptation is being used as a weapon to make us bad, God uses it to allow us to be good. While Satan uses temptation to weaken us, God uses it to make us stronger, finer, and purer. Temptation is not a penalty. Temptation is a privilege because we realize that God is using this as an opportunity to strengthen our spiritual muscles. I love those points because they really help me understand and help me kind of process why we get tempted and that it's really not such a bad thing after all. There's another story I want to tell you that was extremely inspiring as well, and this comes from Hope. Have you ever heard the story of Jason McLean? Jason was a 17-year-old kid with autism who longed to play basketball, but he could never make the team. Instead, Jason volunteered to be his high school team's manager in Rochester, New York. He worked hard all year filling bottles, cleaning the locker room, and being the team's #1 fan. On February 16, 2006, at the final game of the year, however, he was added to the roster by coach Jim Johnson, so he could be given a jersey and get to sit on the bench with the rest of the team. Johnson hoped the situation would even enable him to get McLean on the floor for a little playing time. He got the chance with his team. by double digits and 4 minutes to go. And in his first action of the year, McLean missed his first two shots, but then sank 6 3-pointers and another shot for a total of 20 points in 3 minutes. I've had a lot of thrills in coaching, Johnson said. I've coached a lot of wonderful kids, but I've never experienced such a thrill. The crowd went wild and his teammates carried the excited McLean off the court. I feel like a celebrity, he beamed. McLean's mother sees it as a milestone for her son. This is the first moment Jason has ever succeeded and could be proud of himself, reflected Debbie McLean. I look at autism as the Berlin Wall, and he cracked it. Wow. Jason ended up being on different programs like Good Morning America, Larry King Live, The Today Show, Oprah. He was actually recognized by the President of the United States at the time. And he won an ESPY award for the best moment in sports in 2006. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that absolutely amazing? I'm going to tell you something. When you feel like you can't, know that you can. You have got a powerful God by your side. You have got a powerful God by your side. I look at these two stories. I look at the refining. And I also, think about the refining, I think about the caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And I love this fact because I love butterflies personally. They're my favorite insect. I love them. I love purple ones because purple is my favorite color, especially. But I love all the different colors that they have and all the textures and all the designs that are very unique. Why? Because I know that each and every one of them was made uniquely and you can see it. Every single one of them is different. Even the one that looks the most alike is different. They're uniquely beautiful, no matter which color they are, no matter which shape they are. I love that. And then to hear the story of Jason and how he was able to prove that no matter what disability or weaknesses or whatever it is that we have, or struggles that we have, challenges that we have, personally, whether it is a physical disability, a mental disability, a mental health situation, so many things, right? I mean, only God knows what you go through, what you and I go through. I can't sit here and tell you how difficult that is because everybody's situation is different. But to hear these two stories, to me, it is inspiring and encouraging. And I wanted to take a moment to encourage you today to not look at temptation as just a defeat. Look at it as a necessity for refining, but also look at it as a hope. Because we are children of God. If you are a Christian, a disciple of Jesus, you are a child of God. I was listening to that song earlier. I love that song, Child of God by Hillsong. I love it so much. It is just so inspiring. But just remember that. I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you to remember that you are a child of God. I hope that this episode has encouraged your faith today. And I pray that this and continual episodes will encourage your faith and your walk with God. Thank you. Thank you once again for listening to another episode of our Unveiled Faces. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to press that like button right below and subscribe to my channel.